Okay,
Sure.
great. So I'm just going to give a little brief about what the series is all about, and yeah, we can go ahead.
Sure.
So hello to everyone who joined us today for our 6th episode, and our dear viewers who is going to be watching this. So yeah, today is the 6th episode of our series where we sit down and talk to some incredible people from the youth community in the region that include both successful and aspiring entrepreneurs, innovators, and young leaders. I'm Umaima, the founder of YouthWave MENA, which is a social startup based in the Kingdom of Bahrain with a goal to involve our youth in solutions for smart, sustainable development. We are overjoyed to be with Badr Al Sarraf, an 18-year-old Bahraini innovator, entrepreneur, and a proud winner of the Tatawwar program 2019-2020 edition. He's also an economics and finance scholar at the University of Bristol. And there's plenty more amazing things that you've accomplished, Badr, that we can't wait to hear you talk about. But for now, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about you? Well, first of all, it's
I'm
a
good.
pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Great. I'm doing good as well. And I'm so happy to have you here today to talk to us. So yeah, so how about we start off with a little introduction? I know I've already mentioned a few things, but could you add to that if you can?
Well, yeah, first of all, let me just start off by introducing myself. So I'm Badr Al
Mm-hmm.
Sarraf. I'm an 18-year-old from Bahrain. I study economics and finance at the University of Bristol. And like Umaima said, I was the first place winner in the Tatawwar 2020 competition. And I'll be presenting my innovation next year at the Expo 2021 Dubai at the UK Pavilion stand. And I'm also currently also looking forward to working in the fintech field as well. Like I'm looking into projects related to fintech, and on the side, my hobbies can include like reading books about psychology or trading or mindset and motivation, and also like having a jog every once in a while just to release the stress and all. But yeah, but to sum it all up, it's all in the bio.
All right. First of all, congratulations on your accomplishments and also for winning the Tatawwar program last year. So yeah, how can I go in with the questions right now?
Sure, of course.
How did you first get into entrepreneurship?
Well,
Let's start with that.
it
Mm-hmm.
started off. I actually was inspired by my dad. He's
Uh-huh.
actually a businessman and an entrepreneur himself. And ever since he took me to his office around about probably like the age of 8 or 9, it was kind of like a weird environment because I could see like all these computers around, people working, and just like shelves of like books and files and all. And I was just wondering like how can like an entrepreneur actually like run his business and function and actually serve the market. And ever since I was like really interested into business. So then I took it at GCSE, I took it at A level, and then I kind of broadened my perspective on entrepreneurship. It really is more than what people think it is. It's not really a simple
Mm-hmm.
thing. You really need to have the passion for entrepreneurship to actually do really well.
Definitely,
It's
yeah.
key to like understand what you're serving in the market for you to be a successful entrepreneur, and that's what one of the most important things I've learned like in entrepreneurship.
Right. Definitely agree with you on that. So could you talk about your experience at the Tatawwar program next and how it helped you further? And if it did, and maybe some of the highlights?
Sure. Well, it's kind of funny how it started. How I was introduced to the program. In fact, I was in
Mm-hmm.
an economics class, and it was like around about December, and it was approaching the deadline for submitting your applications for the regional rounds. And my economics teacher approached me. He's like, "There's this competition coming up in Bahrain. It's around the MENA. Are you interested in applying to it?" I just straight away said yes, without even thinking what it would be, because I had that like I have like a competitive passion. And
Right.
then when I was outlined and talked about like the whole competition, what it's all about, like you have to innovate a product and like present it to judges and an audience, and just go to travel to a different place. But COVID happened this year, so it was all different. But it was actually really great since we had to like innovate a product which was correlating to the UN SDG goals. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like a thing in a competition where you can't find in any other competitions. So it really like pushes you a further step to actually work on something that will actually really affect the environment around you. And it was really great throughout the program. We got a lot of support. in like building our presentations and building our like financial and analytical skills. Like we had to like construct forecasts in our like final rounds, and just the whole like process of innovating a product and then presenting it to the judges at the end made it like really like businessy type. It's like a thing you'd see on The Apprentice or Shark Tank. It made it a really real life experience, and I've learned many things from it. It can be like, for example, innovation. For example, I've built up my innovation skills. I actually innovated a product which many people thought that wouldn't work. So it's basically like a solar panel CO2 converter. I didn't take any like physics or chemistry in A levels, so I didn't have much of a background information. So I'd have many people that did it approach me and be like, "Are you sure it's gonna work? Like, how did you come up with that product?" I was just telling them like, it doesn't really matter if you didn't take it. It's all about your like passion to actually achieve that goal. And so I did a lot of research. I read a lot of books, read a lot of publications, did calculations, and it was just countless nights on and on and on to actually then nail everything according to the specification that I wanted. So it was a really enjoyable experience.
Wow. And I'm glad it worked out because, like you said, like there were people that doubted it, but you still kept on with it. And that's something that is commendable, and people should actually learn from that. So yeah, you also mentioned to me in your description earlier before this that you're a firm believer of Kaizen. I don't think the majority would be familiar with that term. So just in case, would you like to explain a little bit about it and why you adopted the belief? How effective?
Sure.
Go ahead.
So basically, Kaizen is a Japanese term for a continuous improvement. So like I really believe in that term, or like that ideology of Kaizen, because it's basically, it's mostly introduced in business. It's really applied to businesses, but from like in my perspective, it can be applied to like an individual as well. If you really aspire to continuously improve yourself, like for example, in studies or in life, or for like achieving your goals, it can really help pushing you to achieve your goals. It can really push you outside of your comfort zone to achieve those goals. So it's a really important like ideology or psychology to adapt to your daily life.
Okay, right. That's really great. I have to agree with you on that as well, because I also think there should be continuous improvement in whatever you do. So yeah, you're also quite active as a trader in the Forex and Equities market, if I'm right. So how long have you been doing that, and what are some of the things that you'd like to share about trading from your experience?
I started like trading around about probably 2 years ago, back in like November 2018. This the whole like idea of trading, I got it from my dad as well, because he's an investor too on the side, and he advised me to read some books, like look into it, what it's all about. So I started off with equities first, which is basically like company stocks. So I had to read a lot of books. Like then I looked at charts, and I was like just very confused at the start. I was like, it's just a whole new like dimension. You're looking at like all these charts and what they mean, and then it's really confusing. But you really have to like drive yourself. And I've been in competitions as well ever since that. For example, I've been in the Bahrain Bourse Trade Plus competition last year, and we achieved first place in that. And after equities, so like last year in my summer, and then went into Forex as well. I looked at it, and I realized that it's also completely different to equities as well. It's all to do with currencies, exchange rates, and all such. And I really had that passion for economics, so I could really like get that link between economics and finance, and then put them together. So then I had to like just read a lot of books about charting techniques and how to analyze charts and evaluate your positions and do a lot of risk management. So it's all really like interlinked, and it's all to do with like your passion for the subject, or like for the whole area itself, which will drive you forward.
Okay. And what are some of the challenges? Because you talked about just now that you were interested in the economy, and so what do you think are some of the challenges that the economy has been facing within the region?
So one we can all relate to is obviously the coronavirus, COVID-19. Well, there's been many economic problems that we're facing and we're going to face. It can be like number one, it's to do with it can really affect consumers. This whole like economic crisis, it's their capability to like leave a certain income to provide to themselves on a daily basis, because many jobs have been cut down, many people have been redundant, and it's all really been affecting the economy itself. And if we look at it from a macro perspective, so like the overall economy, many economies have been suffering, for example, in like their stock markets. It's been affecting the companies. It's been affecting perhaps like the exports and the imports. So many governments faced a big budget deficit in their budgets, meaning that their spending exceeded their revenues. So, but there's been many research conducted right now in which the financial sector, so like the banks, they could like come together with the central bank of a country and actually put forward together like policies to do in monetary policy. So that's linked with interest rates and like quantitative easing. It's like a bit more economic, but that's basically the like solution to then stimulate the economy to get it back on its feet. And with the vaccine that's coming out right now, it's been approved right now in Bahrain, for example, the UK, the US. So with these vaccines being approved, we can actually see a bit more of a boost, big boost to the economy. So with that, then these economic like problems can then start minimizing as time goes by.
Right. So you also mentioned about, you know, the decrease in jobs as well due to the pandemic, and I'm just about to get on that. Actually, unemployment rates among the youth especially are very high in the MENA region. I think a recent article has been published by the GDN, the Gulf Daily News, of a study showing that about 80% of highly educated young men and women in Bahrain specifically are unemployed. These were the results of a detailed analysis by the National Unemployment Program, which was launched last month. What does that say about the status of our economy, and how do you see about it?
Well, yeah, you are right. I do agree with you about the like many like highly educated people being unemployed. But however, there's been recently many initiatives put forward by the Ministry of Labor. There've been like initiatives such as promoting like companies, like private companies and public companies, to list jobs to like individuals for them to then hire. Or there's been many like expos held where there's people, you know, taking their applications, applying to different certain companies. But the more like, you know, highly educated people that are unemployed, the more it will affect the economy. So I believe that there should be like a more higher provision of jobs. Companies should be on the lookout more for their, you know, for prospective employees. But the thing is, there's a kind of a slight twist. There's many of these like, you know, people that are unemployed or like youth like us. They really like, especially in these days, they really have that drive. They're pushing themselves to like innovate and become entrepreneurs. Like I've seen many like people that I know of young age that have started up businesses in Bahrain. For example, like probably like fintech or technology or even like restaurants, and they've been really successful. So there's this like slight tweak that some people like diverging away from, instead of, you know, being working for someone, they're like working for themselves. So in another way, you can say that this like whole unemployment thing has like two sides to it.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, moving on, there's been a saying that there is no bad economy, and it's just how we look at it and what we do in those economical conditions that really tell the difference. What do you think about this statement? And could you perhaps speak about what the economy has been like? I mean, add to what you said earlier with the effects of the pandemic.
Well, you are right. There isn't really such a thing called like a, you know, as a bad economy. It's really like it's really like opinionated. It can be biased, you know. So like for example, let's take the US economy. Ever since March hit, you can see many charts up until now by like many analysts, for example, like probably on Bloomberg or like other finance platforms. If you charted like the performance of the US economy or like the labor market or for example their stock market, it's been really booming ever since, and it's really been just on a very sharp rise. So you can see that no matter like these crises that come at us, that like hit us hard, we have that like ability to rebound and come back up. So it really supports and emphasizes the point that there's no bad economy. It really depends on like the way the policymakers act upon them, how, like the certain policies they set, the certain rules they set. For example, we can relate to that in Bahrain. When the crisis hit, His Majesty the King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, God bless him. He set a rule. He basically requested from the Bahraini government that they should cut down on basically people weren't supposed to pay like bills, electricity bills, and like the loans were like dropped for like a certain period of time. So it's like these policies that help people get back on their feet and be less affected by such economic problems. So like you said, there isn't really such thing as a bad economy. It's basically how you react.
Okay. So yeah, earlier we talked about your experience with the Tatawwar program, and you gave us a little hint about what your project was about. Would you like to talk more about it?
Sure. So basically what it is, it's a solar panel CO2 converter. So what it basically is, it's a solar panel that has like two functions. One being itself, just transforming solar energy into proper energy forms. And the special thing about it is that it has the ability to also transform CO2, carbon dioxide, into suitable forms of energy. And the way it does this is that it has like specific tubes in in the panel itself, which has like all the special like nanotubes and all that can like extract the carbon dioxide and turn it into forms of energy. And right now I'm at the stage where I'm working with my uni to like get to like work with like researchers in my university that are like very specialized in this area itself. And all I need to do right now is just to work with them and just get everything noted down. And then if it all goes to plan, then I'll have everything ready for the expo next year, which I'm really looking forward to.
Inshallah, I hope everything goes well for you. And again, you're doing amazing with the project and everything. I wish you all the best on that.
Thank you very much.
So just before like we close off, there are two more questions I'd like to ask.
Sure.
So you've mentioned as well that you've been working on financial security projects. Would you like to talk about those a bit?
Yeah, sure. So we're really going to like this era where we're not relying much on like paper money, and it's been many articles have been coming out ever since. So we're really like moving into like digital currencies, like for example Bitcoin. And in fact, next year Visa or Tami are like partnering up with a blockchain like startup. They're basically releasing a Visa card that offers like Bitcoin rewards instead of like the usual like miles or like cash rewards or other such. So we're really like transforming into that like digitalization era. So I'm really like really looking forward to that because it will be like a whole new different thing. So I'm starting early, looking to like for example bring like this whole like fintech thing back into Bahrain. Like for example, it could be related to like blockchains, which are basically to do with Bitcoin, or we could and like looking at like the whole like security behind it, because like it can really be prone to like like attacks and such. So really looking into like the fintech security business can be a really beneficial thing for this whole like sector itself.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, what would your advice be for the youth?
So what my like most important advice for the youth is like never set yourself a limit. It's like no matter what happens, I always believe in the saying that it never seems impossible until it's done. So whenever people tell you to like you can't really achieve that, or you can't really do this and you can't really do that, instead of like letting yourself down, going into your room and just not doing anything and just saying, oh, I'm not gonna do well, I'm gonna fail in this, I'm gonna fail in that. Always have that like positive attitude, always have like that motivation and the drive. And when you apply that to your psychology and your mindset, you will change like wholly as a person. You'll be able to get out of your comfort zone, achieve more, and just really break all those barriers that are ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. That was such a beautiful ending to this interview. Would you like to share anything else before we close?
All I'd really say is that any opportunity that comes to you, just grab the opportunity straight away, because opportunities these days don't really come by really easily. So any opportunity that you see that is a really good opportunity, that's just go and grab it straight away, no matter how irrelevant it might be. For example, in my case, this whole Tatawwar thing was like slightly irrelevant because it wasn't really in my sector. It was really for those like to do with like science and all such. So really grasping these opportunities that come by you will be like really beneficial. And I'd just like to end this by saying, like, really, great thank you for you for hosting, all me and all the others, and for doing this great job in hosting this Youth Wave startup. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Badr. And it was a pleasure to have you here today and talk to you about these things. It was very informative and beneficial for me, and hopefully for the others as well. Yeah, the last bit was very inspiring. I really like how you mentioned that. So yeah, so thank you very much for today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.